the RSF is planning an imminent attack on Fasher. History is repeating itself in Darfur, and an attack on Fasher would be a disaster. A crisis of epic proportions is brewing, and to avoid, 5 things need to happen immediately. Today, the UN Security Council met to discuss the crisis in Fasher, which is on the precipice of a large-scale massacre. This is not conjecture. This is the grim reality facing millions of people in Fasher in North Darfur. There are already credible reports that the RSF and its allied militias have razed multiple villages west of Fasher. And as we speak, the RSF is planning an imminent attack on Fasher. As I've said before, history is repeating itself in Darfur in the worst possible way. And an attack on Fasher would be a disaster on top of a disaster. It would put 500,000 internally displaced persons at risk, people who traveled from across Darfur to seek refuge. And that's on top of the 2 million Sudanese who call Fasher home. A crisis of epic proportions is brewing, and to avoid further death, destruction, and suffering, 5 things need to happen immediately. First, the RSF must end its siege and build up of military forces in Fasher and swear off any attack on the city. All parties to the conflict must take urgent steps to de-escalate. The UN Security Council already called for this, but that's not enough. Every single member state must speak out. The entire international community must speak out. Second, armed actors in Sudan must respect international law and protect civilians, and recall the ICC's jurisdiction to investigate war crimes. Third, all regional powers must stop providing weapons to both parties in accordance with the UN arms embargo. Fourth, the warring parties must engage in direct negotiations in Jeddah, because this conflict will not be solved on the battlefield. It will be solved at the negotiating table. Fifth and finally, all parties must enable full, rapid, safe, and unhindered humanitarian access, including cross-border and cross-line access. Right now, 5 million people in Sudan are on the brink of famine, and tens of millions of people are in desperate need of aid. And yet the warring parties continue to obstruct humanitarian access and aid. Members of the press, I have an urgent ask of all of you. Please help us warn the world about the grave dangers facing the people of Fasher, who are trapped under the threat of violence, of massacre. The people of Sudan are counting on all of us at this moment of peril.